appreciation of what he has done and in anticipation of what we hope he will do for the South Shore, please join me in welcoming Governor Deval Patrick.
I get a lot of long looks these days in rooms like this when I come in, and it's a kind of almost a pitying look. Like, you feel sorry for me being governor at a time like this. And they asked me whether this is about what I expected. And I will tell you there are a couple things I did not expect. I knew that resources would be limited. I did not anticipate a global economic collapse. We are first in the nation in student achievement, first in the nation in healthcare coverage, first in the nation in clean and alternative energy policy, something the President himself came to MIT a few weeks ago to acknowledge. We have fixed the pension system. We have tightened the ethics and lobbying rules. We have simplified the transportation network. There are civilian flaggers at state construction sites. And all of your auto insurance rates have gone down because we've introduced competition into the auto insurance market. Those are 5 reforms that we've been talking about here in the Commonwealth for decades, and that we've finally gotten done. And so recovery in Massachusetts must be a reflection of those values. It must be done in a way consistent with those values. It means investments and jobs to expand opportunity into every community across the state. And our job growth strategy has 4 prongs: education, innovation, infrastructure, and regional clusters. In this region specifically, we're laying the foundation for the innovative economy of the 21st century. And a lot of those points have already been made by Peter and by Lou, but I'll mention just a couple of them. The film tax credit makes a difference for not just that industry, but all of the follow-on industries that support it. There are real jobs there for people working today. We are committed to the commuter service from the Hingham shipyard because it reflects a move towards more transportation-oriented, smart growth development. And it links the South Shore to opportunities in Boston. We are funding the East-West Parkway, as you heard. This project connects Southfield to Route 3 is the most important investment we can make to jumpstart this region's economy right now. And it will create jobs for today and tomorrow while delivering long-term transportation solutions to the region. And we are working closely with the Secretary of the Navy for the transfer of the remaining, 500 acres? 800 acres to the developer. Should I give you a shout out? LNR. So that the project is complete and coherent. And we're going to fix Route 139 in Marshfield, by the way. I know you care about this, Jim. And I know those, having used Route 139 and tried to get out at rush hour from the industrial park on the other side to where you were, I know how important it is that we get this project done. And if you get on with the design, which we will fund, let's see if we can't break ground when the construction season resumes in the spring. Let me also just acknowledge that double-digit increases in healthcare premiums are a serious challenge for small businesses in the South Shore and all around the Commonwealth. I know that. And we have asked the Department of Insurance now to launch hearings into that, and we expect to file legislation shortly to try to address that and get you some relief in the short term. Maybe we can talk about that during Q&A. We're investing state and federal recovery dollars all around the region in weatherization programs in Quincy and improving the bus and modernizing the Crescent Court, housing development in Brockton. We're resurfacing roads all over the South Shore. Sorry for the delays in traffic, but that is a price we pay for making those investments. We're awarding millions of dollars in community service block grants, state public housing capital awards, and more grants in Avon, Plymouth, Canton, Duxbury, Kingston, Hull, and elsewhere, and throughout this recovery. At the most important time for tomorrow's leaders, we are using federal funds in our classrooms to keep teachers teaching and students learning. Taken together, these investments will help us get out of this economic hole. These investments and your investments, your time, your commitment, your creativity, your imagination, your patience. And that is how change happens. And I'll just leave you with what I thought the best description of how change happens. I heard this summer at a swearing in of a new judge who described growing up in Cambridge and how he lived there with his mother, who now spends her winter months in a warmer climate, and comes every summer home to be with him and his family. And she came a little earlier this year so that she could be present for his swearing-in ceremony. And he talked about how she walked through the backyard, and there in the backyard was a pile of stones left over from some project he'd finished or not finished. And the next morning, she came out and started to move those stones from one side of the backyard to the other. And it was hot. She's in her 80s, and he was worried about her and kept asking to help or what she was doing. And she put him off and said, leave me be, I know what I'm doing. And around lunchtime, she came in and said, go on out and see what I finished. And he went outside and saw that she had created a little patio, just a little sitting area, maybe big enough for one folding chair, where he could sit and enjoy his garden. And he said he saw in that an example of real change. The ability to see something perhaps others couldn't, and then brick by brick, build it. Brick by brick. When you think about our accomplishments, our partnership on any number of programs and projects, you think about Lou's standard list of non-negotiable demands and the things that remain to be done. I ask you to see these as we do, not as isolated bullet points on a sheet, but as bricks that interlock, that create a foundation, that enable all of us in every region, to lift this Commonwealth up. That is what we are working toward, and why? Because those values that make a way for another generation the way a way was made for us, must be what this Commonwealth is about. I'm glad to be with you today. Thank you again for having me.